It's the first UFC pay-per-view of the year in Las Vegas. And why not? Alex Pereira headlining against Magomed Ankalaev. Alex Pereira made this his home. Last year, this guy was absolutely on fire in 2024. Let's see if he can keep it up against what some, including the odds makers, are saying is his most difficult challenge yet during this title reign. Hello, everybody. Brett Okamoto alongside Ian Parker. We're going to be breaking down everything from a gambling perspective, as always. But before we get to this UFC 313 card, which is very fun, a lot to talk about, we got to look back at what happened down the road at the Apex. How did we do last week at UFC Fight Night, Ian?
Brett, back-to-back winning weeks. We went up 3.8 units. I'd like to get a bigger win, but we're getting that deficit down each and every week. We started off capping over 1.5 rounds as Parker's premium play, which has done very well this year. That hit. Our 3-unit bet was voided. Castaneda. That fight didn't happen. He's fighting this week, so you know me. I don't go that high on a money line, nor would I ever do that, so void. Emil money line at plus 175. Our lone loss there was Charles Johnson. Missed on the parlay, hit on the prop, but we had a very good week. Let's keep it going. Yep, 313.
Two very good weeks in a row for us. We'll keep it going here in Las Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. And the main event, Magomed Ankalaev getting his title shot. He was saying that Alex Pereira was ducking him, that he didn't want this fight. Well, it's happening now at UFC 313. Here is the stare down. Great fashion choice, by the way, by Chama, as always. And look at these odds, man. Minus 115. Ankalaev is minus 105. That breaks a streak where Ankalaev was the favorite. If it closes this way, he was favored in all 14 of his UFC fights. And you can see the line movement. He opened that way, but now a small underdog to Pereira. Is that smart money, or is that public money saying I got to jump on Alex on these odds?
I mean, look, I can't hate Alex Pereira at plus 140. Chama is done as what he's supposed to do. He's been absolutely doing everything that you look for in a star. He's knocking people out. But I'm going to give a little bit of a hot take here, right? Is he as good as we think, or is it kind of a product of lack of depth in the division, right? So Yuri Prochazka, Khalil Roundtree, Jamal Hill, none threatening with takedowns, wrestling whatsoever. So you're standing on the feet with Pereira, and you know what happens in that situation. Ankalaev, I believe, is an excellent striker, can match him there, but the difference has to be that ground game, that wrestling. He's like, oh, I'm not going to do it. Yes, he is. He's crazy if he's just going to stand there and kickbox with someone like Pereira for all 5 rounds. I don't see it happening. He's got to be aware of those leg kicks we saw against Jan Blachowicz. Ankalaev is susceptible to that. But for me, man, I'm going to go with Ankalaev here. I think he's got too many ways to win this fight. I think that Poatan was traveling a lot. I don't think he necessarily was getting the full-time training that we normally see out of him. I know DC made jokes about that, but I think that's very real here. And Ankalaev has been in Vegas for, what, almost a month now? So he's had the PI in his favor. It's tough. I love Chama. We all love Poatan, but from a betting perspective, I like Ankalaev here. I think he's going to get it done, and we're going to see a new champ.
And you are basing that on, you do think that this fight hits the floor at some point?
It has to. I mean, other than someone getting knocked out per se, we've seen that Poatan has been taken down by Israel Adesanya. We've seen when you watch him clinching, he is susceptible to getting his back leg tripped. Ankalaev is creative in his grappling. He may not use it as much as he has to. That's because he hasn't had to. Against Johnny Walker, he didn't need to. But when he's had to use his wrestling, he's also just a very quick, how do I say this? When his entries with wrestling are very fast for someone in that weight class as well. Pereira doesn't have a guy who he could wrestle with, spar with like that. I think he's got more ways to win, man, with Ankalaev.
Real quick, before we go to the co-main event, do you think about inside the distance at all? If you think it's on the ground, maybe he gets the finish. It's on the ground.
I will say this. I do like the over 2.5. I see it going. We saw that with Pereira and Khalil Roundtree. So we know Pereira's got that durability to an extent. But if it does go to the ground, it would not shock me if Ankalaev got the finish. So him at plus 250, listen, if you take both guys at plus odds, that's called arbitrage betting, you will get a profit if you think the fight's not going all 5 rounds. So that is another way to bet it from a fun perspective. Arbitrage betting, if you guys know it, you get both guys at plus, you play it the same. One way or another, you will profit there. I have a hard time thinking this is going all 5 either way.
Yeah, wins by finish, plus 250. If you really do think that Magomed Ankalaev is going to get this fight to the ground, if that is where you are,
yeah,
I would maybe consider the plus 250. Let's move on to this awesome co-main event. It was going to be, of course, Dan Hooker versus Justin Gaethje. We were excited about that one, just as excited, really, to see these two pick up where they left off in the UK a couple years ago. Justin Gaethje taking the majority decision. He will square off with Rafael Fiziev again, and Fiziev was minus 260 the last time these two fought. He lost. Now he's minus 155. What do you think about that line change?
Look, people are going to bet Justin Gaethje for several reasons. One, big fans of Gaethje, and because he won the first time here. For me, and also because I think Fiziev got off the couch. He didn't. He's been training for a fight. He's been back. He's been healthy for the last 8 months. He's been begging to get in there. And I think for Justin Gaethje, this is not a good matchup. I think when it comes to the striking part of it, Fiziev is the better striker. I think when you look at that last fight between the two who can make the proper corrections to win a more decisive fight, for me, Fiziev will make less corrections and have a better result. Plus, listen, I don't like that Gaethje got knocked out and sent to a place where time doesn't exist by Holloway not too long ago. That plays a factor. He's not getting any younger. He's fighting someone with good power, good speed. So look, I actually think there's value at minus 155 in Fiziev. I know that number was as high as minus 175 at one point. You and I have talked about this. Look, if you love Gaethje, you're getting him at dog money. He has not let people down as an underdog.
He has not. 6-3 in his UFC career.
And he will fight for your money. There's no question here. But Fiziev, man, I just think this time around he's going to have Justin's number. I'm not saying knockout by any sense of the means, but I think Fiziev came to play. He wouldn't have taken this fight if he wasn't ready and healthy. And a healthy Fiziev in this fight, I think, is a scary one.
All right, we're going to move on. We're going to stay in the lightweight division, though. It's Jalen Turner taking on Ignacio Bahamondes. How do you break down this fight?
So, first off, Jalen Turner was someone we were really high on in the beginning when we first started this show years ago. However, what we've learned about Jalen Turner is that if the fight doesn't go his way early, he crumbles, he falls, and he quits. I hate to say about fighters in general, but we've seen it too many times, and he's fighting someone, Ignacio Bahamondes. Now, Belal Muhammad says he's the best striker in the UFC. Belal also says he fights like Canelo, so let's put that part to the side. But this kid, Nacho Bahamondes, is an excellent striker. He takes his angles, his speed. He's got good durability. He's got a good fight IQ. If he could keep this fight standing, because Turner does have a ground game to an extent, he wins his fight. This is going to be my premium play, man. I actually love Bahamondes here, because if this fight stays on the feet, Bahamondes picks him apart, gets the win. This kid's special.
Yeah,
he's the real deal.
And I just like the fight in general. I think it's going to be a competitive, good fight between two guys who have shown a lot of promise already. Let's move on. Still staying with that lightweight division, though. King Green taking on Mauricio Ruffy. What do you make of this fight?
You got to love King Green. He just doesn't say no to anyone, and he seems pretty motivated and determined to get in there. He says he wants to go back to his old style. Yep. But look, I think Ruffy is a special talent. I think he is a very good striker. We saw in that last fight, he went all 3 rounds, so he showed that he could go all 3, put on a good pace here. You know, he's a 4-1 favorite, which... what are we going to do to get this number down? At even money, give me Ruffy to win in over 1.5 rounds. I think Bobby Green, his chin will hold up here. He does not want to get knocked out. Again, Ruffy does possess that power. We've seen it, but I think Green could last 7.5 minutes. I think Ruffy gets this done maybe at the end of the second, early third. I think he's a very good prospect, true to form. I think he shows out tonight.
Okay, so dropping those odds down to a manageable plus 100 for Ruffy and the over 1.5. Let's move on. You got to play on Joshua Van and Tsuruya. What do you got there?
That's going to be a fun fight. Tsuruya is an excellent grappler, good wrestler, and Van is just fun to watch. Good on the feet, good pace, good everything. For me, that fight's going the distance. We're getting a very good number there. Listen, in that division, finishes have been happening, but you got 2 guys here who know how to stay out of trouble, in my opinion. Ray's going to keep trying to maintain top control. Van's going to try to use his striking. Let's go the distance on that one.
And it's a big card, UFC 313. So we got one more best bet for you, and for that we go to the Santos versus Diaz fight. What do you got there?
Under 2.5. Look, with Diaz, he either finishes or gets finished, and I believe his opponent is just that much better, well-rounded. We saw in the Contender Series, he was able to go 3 rounds, show off his power, show off the IQ. However, Diaz's chin is kind of made of glass. And I expect that if he doesn't get that knockout, he gets finished. We're going to get 2.5 rounds to get that done. Give me the under in that one.
All right, so an under 2.5 at minus 160. That's going to round up our best bets. But before we take a look at all the best bets for the UFC 313 card, you got a prop for us. What do you got for Saturday?
Listen, I like Curtis Blaydes here to get this done inside the distance. He's fighting someone who I think is getting a little too much too soon. This is someone who showed out in the Contender Series. Okay, but in other organizations, he popped for PEDs. Listen, Blaydes, as much as we can talk about his career being very strange, gets to the top, misses, gets to the top, misses. He is still an elite heavyweight fighter. He's got wrestling, good striking. His opponent, if he can't take Blaydes down and hold him there, he's getting finished, and we're getting plus money on that one as well.
All right, so there are all your best bets. There is a prop, Parker's prop for the evening, UFC 313. Let's take a quick look at a recap of all of the best bets, and we've had a lot of green on this show lately on these best bets. Let's keep it going on Saturday. Santos Diaz under 2.5. You got the flyweight fight, Tsuruya fight to go to the distance, Fiziev, Ankalaev, Ruffy to win, plus the over, and then the premium play on Bahamondes And from there, we will go to our parlays. First up, the long shot parlay. I love to see what the payouts are for the long shot parlays. What's the payout and who are we taking?
Payout, this one's a lot of fun. It's a little bit over plus 2,500 to get it, to win. Lemos, Tsuruya, and Gutierrez all to win by decision. I think all those fights are relatively coin flips, getting plus odds, plus all of them to win by decision. I think it could happen. Let's hope that this is the one to start off the year with the long shot.
All right, there's your three-teamer for the long shot parlay. How about Parker's parlay for UFC?
Man, this one's been frustrating. We either hit the first three and missed the last one, or missed the first one, hit the rest. So this week, I'm going a little chalky. We're getting plus odds. I like Curtis Blades, I like Byron Santos, and I like Gutierrez Castaneda over 2.5 rounds. Listen, Chris Gutierrez, and the decision is usually how it goes in his fights. Castaneda's a lot of fun there. I believe that fight's going all 3 rounds. So if you want to get better odds, but I'm playing it safe. Over 2.5, Santos Blades, plus 126. Let's go.
All right, there you go. You got the parlays, you got a prop, you got all of Ian's best bets. And how about this? For a little bonus, we got a boosted parlay, but we're getting it from our friend Stephen A. We all know Stephen A. loves him some UFC. Was just talking to Dana White on First Take this week. He has got a boosted parlay with Alex Pereira, Justin Gaethje, Jalen Turner. That would pay out $850. Now it's moving to $950 with the boosted odds on the ESPN Bet app. Kind of going against our guy, Ian Parker, there just a little bit. We'll see who knows their stuff more, Stephen A. or Ian Parker. That's going to do it, man. And this is going to be a fun card. Alex Pereira, this is a tough one for him. You know, this is a trap fight is how Anthony Smith described it to me this week. It is a tough matchup for him. Will Magomed Ankalaev be able to get him to the ground? I think a lot of us are curious to find that out in the opening round. And then, of course, a fun fight, Justin Gaethje versus Rafael Fiziev. Thank you so much for watching UFC Best Bets. Hopefully we made you a little smarter and put some money in those pockets. Enjoy the fights on Saturday. Take care.